Okay, round 3 here. We lost the die roll. Now I have a really interesting hand here. I'm going to keep it because we have our scored barons and a swamp, but I'm trying to decide like if I'm gonna. Well, let's just go. I'm gonna keep because I can cast my spells, and one land gets me the last spell. But if this wasn't an enter the battlefield tap, and we weren't on the draw, we could pretty easily go to turn 1 Disown Ancestor into the rest. I'm considering taking that risk because if I can get a turn 1 Disown Ancestor and then attack, and then right away get the Skull Hunter down, I kind of like that. Might just play turn 1 Disown Ancestor and then play out the Chief of the Scale. Though my opponent isn't doing anything, so maybe I do go a full turn behind. Just to make sure like I'm actually hitting something. Because otherwise I play the Disown Ancestor, a tapped land, and I can't really react to what my opponent's doing. Gosh, I don't know. This is parts where like the format is I'm trying to decide, and my skills aren't strong enough to really know what to do here. I think the upside is strong enough that I'm going to go ahead and rock this guy out. So if I draw another land that's not enters the battlefield tapped, I'll get to go ahead and do that play. If not, then, I've still developed my board on turn 1, and I'm still kind of going to be like a turn behind after that, but I'll still have 2 drops to follow up. War named Aspirant. So it's just going to be a 2-1, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 1 or less. Okay. I'm glad it's just a 2-1, though. What have I got here? Alright. So we'll gain a life, and then do nothing. I can't block, but next turn we'll have a Chief of the Scale out that should be able to block pretty nicely. Because it is 1 or less, right? Did I read that correctly? Yeah, 1 or less. The Chief of Scale also allows the Disown Ancestor to attack for at least a point of damage. The Skull Hunter will start getting some value because we'll be able to attack. Debilitating Injury will take out something scary as needed. Goblin Slide, not too scared about. Could be good, though. Guess I'm excited to be playing against this right now just to see where it goes. Ooh, but now I do have 3 if I want to play a morph. I don't think I care about the morphs. I think my 2-drops are actually pretty fantastic. So, do I want to attack and trigger my raid? I kind of like that. My opponent only has 4 cards right now. Could be a land. Maybe I do wait to get a point in and have my defense up. Yeah, I like that. That's what's going to happen. Pay white, black, Chief of the Scale. Attack in. Oh, this is the defense guy. Well, that doesn't... I was going to try to attack in. That would be silly now, wouldn't it? And then if my opponent plays land and plays a spell, then I'm really fine with attacking and getting the Mardu Skull Hunter next turn. Might even use a Debilitating Injury to take out something relevant and play the Skull Hunter. Be a nice turn 4. Question will be, do I block the war-named Aspirant if my opponent attacks in? Alright, well that was a decision I did not have to make. She says, I don't think my opponent has a combat trick, which means I feel like I can attack with the Chief. If he takes out a trick, that's kind of okay, not great. But I have a lot of power going on, and this Chief isn't going to do a whole lot to... I mean, I'm going to be winning through the Guide and the Woolly Loxodon, really. I mean, I don't want him to die, but I think I'm in good enough shape where I can go ahead and attack with it. See if it draws out something from my opponent. I don't... There's like a bounce spell, or there's a... There's a number of spells that can be played, plus a Goblin Slide that can make this happen, to make that relevant. Okay, ooh, Winterflame, that's a good card, too. Tap target creature, plus Winterflame does 2 damage to target creature. So, gets to kill my guy, but at least... I mean, it's really just a kill and a tap, like... My opponent gets rid of some cards. I get my raid trigger. We'll ditch another card from my opponent's hand. I mean, I'm not excited, but Winter Flame trading for a Chief is fairly acceptable. The big bummer is I don't get to use the Outlast, which would have been nice. I still think I want to play the Skull Hunter here. I don't think I want a debilitating injury. It's Temur Charm, so my opponent's stuck on green. That's a pretty decent card. Yeah, and it's a little awkward because I have the Morph guys and I'm one land away from it, so... But still, I think this injury is going to be good enough on a different type of creature, like a Morph or something, that I don't want to just waste it yet. Opponent still doesn't have green. Valley Dasher. Okay, we got tons of blocks for those kind of things, so I'm not super worried. Opponent wants to go on the offensive. I don't think that's what my opponent wants to do with only one card left in hand, but that's okay. Ooh. That's a good draw, I would say. Yep, we're going to play it. I'll attack in for 2. And then play my 3/3, which on this board is good. We can block the 2/2. On both. Ooh, counterspell? Counterspell. Okay. I was a little overconfident with that one last card in hand. I'm glad it was the Krumar. I guess I would have minded if the Bondkin was the one that was gone. That's fine. We're still going to be able to stabilize pretty well here. My opponent didn't have enough mana to get a Goblin out of it, so that's kind of nice. A downfall of the Goblin slide. We're equally trading, and I've got way more gas in hand. In fact, I think I'm just going to hardcast the Krumar Bondkin, because if we just keep drawing lands, then I get to just kind of hardcast some of these. The Woolly locks it in, we might need to do a little finagling, but I'm very okay with that. And yeah, I'm willing to just do 2 for 2, instead of keeping my guy back for a trade or something. No, just normal cast, please. So we've all been playing some very non-exciting cards. I think the Temur Charm and the Winter Flame are the most powerful spells that I've seen. Haste and Prowess. Prowess not being fantastic here, since my opponent's 3 spells have kind of already happened. I think I am going to go ahead and block. My opponent had a trick that'd probably be more attacking in with both these guys. So I think it was a pretty safe way to, with my opponent top decking, knowing that that wasn't going to do anything super dangerous. I think now we just outlast and then morph the Loxodon so that we can get the Loxodon going once we draw our next land. That seems like the best bet to me. Do I attack with this guy? Haste, Prowess. Yeah, why not? My opponent could double block. But once I get one of those guys out of the way, then like I'm in pretty good shape. So I'm not going to attack with the 5/3 because of double block. I mean, yeah, it's a 2 for 1, but no need to rush that quite yet. Ah, can I remember that with Outlast? Alright. Opponent's still no green. And yeah, my opponent wasn't there. Don't know what my opponent's mana base is like, if this was just an unlucky draw and mana screwed, or if my opponent just doesn't have a strong enough mana base. Maybe this is just like a splash green card. Don't know. We did see a Winter Flame, a Temur Charm, and a Cancel. Those are very important things to keep in mind if my opponent's looking to be playing a bunch of non-creature spells. That's important. I don't think Goblin Slide is going to be good, though, in this format. I really don't. I wanted to begin sideboarding. Am I not sideboarding? Please let me sideboard. Yay, sideboard! Right, so I've not once sideboarded anything, correct? We have seen one enchantment, which I don't think I care about. But Naturalize could come in. Don't care about the long shot squads at all. And those are really the only things I cared about on the side, right? because I have such a shitty sideboard game plan. Is there anything I don't like against my opponent? Not really. Oh, the Russia battles. Not entirely sold on you yet, but I still think they're a thing. I still think I want both of them over like one naturalize and one rush, so let's hang on to the deck. Let's see, is this gonna be a keepable hand? I think so. My opponent has some aggressive colors, but with a counter spell and kind of what my opponent would do is just kind of go off a little bit. I don't think that's really happening. I don't think I'm going to be overly punished here. And I like having this 4-drop and having a morph dude. I'll keep it. I like keeping hands that have spells and lands. Like I'm just a little too burned by all the mulliganing down to 5 and 4. I think it's much easier just to like rock this out. Ooh, and a better morph even. All right, we'll gain our life. Opponent has now the appropriate mana fixing, which was missing last game in this match. Let's see, any pressure? No pressure, so that's fantastic. So we're not going to be too far behind in any way, shape, or form. I'll get to decide later what morph do I want to play first. I like Watcher of the Roost, maybe revealing the Sage Eye Harrier. That was a fun little combination. Just gaining 2 life and then getting the Flyer anyway. It's the same amount of mana, but you just gain 3 life for a little bit of downside of just showing the... Was my opponent without a 3rd land? Oh, no. This is not going to go well. If that's the case, what's the most aggressive line I can take? Still the Watcher, I think. I think the Watcher is still going to be the most aggressive. And this plays around the counter spells in the format. Cancels for 3. There's a counter spell that... forget how it entirely works. But it's for converted mana cost 4. And it's 2. And I think there's another one in the format that I just don't know. Oh, I don't want to F6. I just F6'd by accident. So I had to undo my F6ing. Because I do want to reveal my guy with the Sage Eye Harrier. Sage Eye Harrier. Revealing. Just to gain the 2 life. My opponent didn't play anything, but I like this. So I end up wanting to play the Harrier now. I don't want to have to reveal the Doom Blast, so that works nicely. Opponent lets that resolve. I have to play around cancel a little bit. So if that's the case, maybe I just don't play anything. I could play the Harrier, which would take cancel out of my opponent's hand. It's a bummer I don't have anything to kind of like get my opponent for not playing anything this turn, but I saw cancel last turn. I'm just going to wait. My opponent could just still be screwed, because remember there was a land drop that was missed, but since I have a board presence, there's no reason for me to rush into it. At this point, it might be, you know, if I can get far enough ahead on the board, I won't even want to play Doom Blast unless it's a dire emergency. Opponent is playing... I see. Taking out my guy. So that's what we had. I mean, Winter Flame was around too, but there's nothing really you can play around with that. But opponent took the damage, so that's kind of nice. Alright, so my opponent is a little bit screwed. We're going to go ahead and run out whatever our least interesting spell is. I'm not going to play the Crew Marks. I actually liked it a lot more than the Sage Eye Harrier. Let's play it and see if my opponent wants to counter it. Then next turn we might play the Bondkin if that doesn't happen. Counter? Alright, yeah. So opponent went for it, knew about that spell, used the cancel up. Not getting a lot of value off of Prowess or the enchantment my opponent has. Opponent has 6 cards in hand. We've traded 2 for 2. I do like what we have here with our removal spells, but have to at some point start carrying. Could be another counter spell. If that's the case, It's gonna be a bummer, but I think I'm still gonna like hope that my opponent, with just being screwed with mana, doesn't have more answers. So we're just gonna try to put out a beater here for 5. Another cancel. Okay, all right. I was gotten there. Still, we're protecting some of our better creatures. The 5/3 would have been really nice on this board since my opponent's just not playing creatures. But in general, Krumar and the Harrier is definitely worse. But I wanted to take that risk. I think it was worth the risk. All right, now that my opponent's tapped out, we can actually rock out the Krumar. Falconer will be good soon enough. I could just play the Falconer and another Morph guy. That actually puts more power on the table, so we'll do that. So now we have 4 power on the table. Allow us to put some more beats through. Opponent has full grip. Gets out of this mana screw, starts being able to resolve stuff. That's going to be a thing, but maybe these guys will help us with that. My opponent's still screwed on mana. So both games have not been particularly exciting for my opponent. And I'm just going to wait to play the Krumar when my opponent is tapped out. Like, the likelihood of there being even a third counterspell is horrible, but maybe that's just what my opponent's entire game plan is with Goblin Slide. I don't know. Crippling Chill, that's what's happening here. Tapping down my Falconer. Not getting a Goblin. Oops, I skipped my attack phase. Well, that's not fun. I definitely wanted 2 points of damage in. Annoying. My opponent should be at 16 right now. Let's see if that bites me in the butt later when my opponent draws some lands. Hey, land! Alright, looks like this game's going to start happening. This is going to be a bummer. Even the rather not fun but simple strategy of letting my opponent play all lands, or play all cards out, and then Doom Blasting eventually, and keeping, like, you know, a 3/3 or something around, it's going to be pretty nice. Would love to draw some of my green Morph guys, which would be the Abzan... What the hell is it called? I don't even know. Alright, you get your Morph guy down. It's the 4/4 lifelinker I'm thinking of. Or my big old beefy green guy. Those would be fun. Murderous Cut is nice. Don't think I need to waste it here. I think I'm just gonna attack in with both. My opponent might want to block. But I think there's enough of a bluff here that, like, that's not gonna happen. If my opponent blocks, that's still okay. Not great, but I don't really care this 1/5er. I just want to be tacking in with the 3/3 a bunch. And there are no blocks, as predicted. So we'll just keep our removal spells handy. If this is super scary and I don't want to, you know, wait to play the Doom Blast, we can just use our 3 removal. We can use a Kill Shot or Murderous Cut if this guy gets, like, turned up on a 5th land drop and I'm worried about it. If it's just 2 damage, well, that's fine. We're winning that race handily. And yeah, that's all it was. My opponent doesn't want to be blocking without the 5th mana up, which makes a lot of sense. This guy's a warrior, right? Alright, we might be unmorphing it at the next turn. For now, let's just attack with everything, I guess. See what happens. Still rather attack than, like, outlast with the Falconer. Another Crippling Chill. Taking out this guy, maybe? But my opponent gets to get the 1/1 now. We're still going to continue the beats. Yes, definitely want to. We're still ahead in the race, and we're way up on the base race. Got it. And there's really no reason to play any of my other spells. So we'll flip the Morph guy over. That'll just make it nice for when we do a rush of battle. Crippling Chill is such a good card. Love Crippling Chill. think Winter Flame's also good. Cancel, I'm not a huge counter spell person. But my opponent does seem to be playing the appropriate number of non-creature spells to be playing Goblin Slide. I just don't know if that's a viable strategy, because look, like with so few creature threats, like just having the dorks that I do have down makes things very nice. Ooh, the Loxodon. So that we want to play as morphed. Then we'll still have 1, 2. Then we still have 4 mana up, and we can cast our big dudes. All right. I'll go ahead and attack with both. Again, because if this morph thing happens and it's something scary and I want to protect my guy, then I'm okay with that. So what is it? Ooh, a Hooded Hydra. So when enters the battle, when it dies, put 1/1 green snake creature on the battlefield for each +1/+1 counter. Oh, so we're getting a bunch of 5/5 snakes. Alright. So it does change a little bit of the race, but I am definitely going to Murderous Cut it right now. But I want to play the Loxodon down, so we're actually going to go kill you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to exile one of my guys. Opponent gets a bunch of those guys. Takes a touch of damage. Try to get our dude out. Then once we flip him and have Rush of Battle, we should be in pretty good shape. And again, Doom Blast is our security blanket here. Opponent has 8 cards in hand. There is danger to be had. These are some good spells here. The fact that my opponent's been like screwed on mana and is still in this game, somewhat, is a testament to that. I'm just scared about all the cards in hand. But I guess the Crippling Chills help with that. They like cycle too, so I forget Crippling Chills are that good. Crippling Chills so good. Alright, now starting to bust out a bunch of stuff. This Doom Blast is gonna rock soon enough. Alright. Debilitating Injury. So I just have so much removal spell. Maybe it's just time to like fire off the Doom Blast. So my opponent can put all of these guys in front of this morph to try to play around, but mostly this guy's just probably just going to start taking like some chumps here, right? I can only imagine. And I want to turn him this face up this way anyway. I have plenty of time to take some beats on the back crack. So yeah, we're just going to attack in with the Loxodon. And that's it. And then we're also going to outlast the Falconer. And just hang on to the removal spells forever and ever. I think it's the only way we lose if we play this a little too sloppily. My opponent's doing nothing. That's cool. Oh no, I was supposed to click this part first. Now I have to do all this. There we go. Take 6. Outlast. Take it. And then I'm probably only doing like really conservative blocks on anything, since I have so much life. Pretty sure we're going to fire off the Doom Blast and just attack for the win with the Woolly Loxodon. If my opponent has no blue mana up, I don't want to get caught by another counterspell, because again, that would be the sloppy part. And my opponent's just over it. Okay. So, cons of Tarkir drafting. Super fun, but not entirely sure I learned that much from the format. It's pretty complicated. I don't feel very confident about the draft, or at least my like experience in the draft. Really enjoyed it though. I like the actual deck that I drafted. I think that was a nice way to kind of fill out the format, stay fairly conservative in some pretty decently open colors, with the black and the white, and then just kind of splash in the green. So I like that. I'm not too sure if Doom Blast was the way to go. I'm going to keep my eye on that guy. Still want to be figuring out how the different sequencing of lands and morphing works. I'm really excited to see how that progresses. Overall, the draft and the experience, I think the first round was really interesting. Obviously, a lot more difficult, a lot more thought, figuring out the cards, and with a really good opponent. Bummed I lost, but that makes perfect sense in how I played. And the last two, I mean, like this last game wasn't really, a great match. My opponent basically got screwed. Not really exciting in those regards, but nonetheless, I appreciate having low stakes Swiss and just kind of feel out the cards, start seeing things. And I appreciate my opponent playing the Goblin Slide too, because that's always fun to kind of see these cards if they're even worth messing with. Anyway, hope you enjoyed at least a little bit. I'm Ryan from Mana Bluff. As a always reminder, please comment, subscribe, and like on YouTube. Or on manabluff.com, leave comments. That's where I promise to respond. Or you can find me on Twitter, __RJH___. If you want to start a conversation and say hey, or just, chat it up a wee bit. Thanks for watching. We'll have another draft up next Friday. Until then, enjoy your pre-release events. Peace.